Europe is most likely to experience a colder and less windy early winter, as the UK energy regulator warned there is a high risk of gas shortages this winter. Microsoft founder Bill Gates has also said something similar to this. He noted that Europe might face a terrifying situation this winter, which could be disastrous to its residents. The cost of living could be worse than it is, and people should be fully prepared to tackle what comes out of it. What will this mean for the people? Is there any way to curb this? Well, in this video, we'll be looking at Bill Gates' warning regarding this scary winter and what it will be for Europe. So watch this video to the end because it sure is going to get interesting. Now that the Microsoft founder has pointed out another issue the European citizens will face, we're expecting to see how it won't get worse. Bill Gates warned that surging energy prices across the region would mean a lot, as individuals won't be able to heat their homes, and we know what this means for the people. With the current situation of things, Europe has not been able to provide any viable alternatives. Many people have already warned of possible price spikes. They claim the price could send shivers through Europeans this winter when they see their heating bills or pump gas line. In a CNN interview, Yellen said this winter the European Union will cease, for the most part, buying Russian oil, and in addition, they will ban the provision of services that enable Russia to ship oil by tanker. It is possible that this could cause a spike in oil prices. In conditions like this, there are higher chances of easterly winds leading to lower temperatures than usual. There is also a higher chance of a cold outbreak this winter. However, a gas supply emergency could force gas-fired power stations to close. This will not speak well, and it's going to be unpalatable for people. Rules governing the energy industry depict that any plants cut off would have a massive fine for their failure to deliver electricity. That's why Gates keeps warning that this current winter could see a significant risk of gas shortages, which could also hit electricity supplies. When Gates was speaking with Bloomberg journalist Akshat Rathi for a podcast episode, he was specifically asked to give a comment on the spectacularly bad prospects for Europeans due to increasingly high energy prices this winter. He said the difference in the amount of natural gas you need in a very cold winter versus a mild winter will surprise people. It's almost a factor of 3. That was not at all. He continued, "You better be hoping it's a fairly mild winter. If it's a very harsh winter, the trade-offs are very, very difficult, including clamping industrial use of energy in large part, which people aren't really ready for." This means Bill Gates was so doubtful about some Western countries' declarations that they would put an end to Russian energy purchases in order to retaliate for the conflict in Ukraine. This is quite funny but serious. He further suggested that Europe will have to remain dependent on those imports for some time to come. He said, "So when people say to me, 'Hey, we love your climate stuff because we can tell Russian President Vladimir Putin we don't need him.'" He also continued and gave a sarcastic reply. "I say, yeah, 10 years from now. Call him up and tell him you don't need him." Wow, Bill Gates claimed that the reactivating of coal plants and relying on other, less green energy sources is pragmatic and will even be good for climate in the long run. At the same time, in the short range, you just have to find any solution, even if that means emissions are going to go up. The former Microsoft executive also went on to say the difficulties of climate activism, noting that he is effectively asking society to move from cheaper and longer-lasting alternatives for the sake of the planet, even going so far as to suggest that some environmental problems may never have a solution. I don't think it's realistic to say that people are utterly going to change their lifestyle because of concerns about climate, Gates said. You can have a cultural revolution where you're trying to throw everything up. You can create a North Korean-type situation where the state's in control. Other than immense central authority to have people just obey, I think the collective action problem is just completely not solvable. Let's not deceive ourselves. This winter's rise in home energy costs will put many lower-income families at risk of falling behind on their energy bills. They may have no choice but to make difficult decisions between paying medicine and rent, paying for food, and others. What's much worse is that the prices of gasoline and oil fell sharply on less demand. This made drivers cut back this summer when pump prices surged. In fact, people began to feel the fear of a coming global recession. China even locked down regions as it tried to halt the spread of COVID-19. Bill even said at a point that no matter what happens, and even if all the world's rich countries eventually disappeared, they would only amount for less than 1/3 of global carbon emissions. He added that the excesses of the rich countries, even curbing those entirely out of existence, do not solve this problem. You can only hope things get better. In the meantime, let's keep our fingers crossed and see how it will fare for Europe and its people this winter. And that's it for today, guys. If you enjoyed this video, do well to subscribe to our channel and give this video a like. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.